Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, student. How are you today? Okay, today we will learn about Islamic creed. 1. Definition of Islamic creed. Faith comes from the language of the word aqada yaqidu aqidatan, which means a bond or agreement, in terms of the heart's belief in something. The word faith can be used for teachings contained in Islam and can also be used for other teachings outside of Islam. So there are terms Islamic creed, Jewish creed, Christian creed, and other creed. That way we can also conclude that there is a true or upright creed and false or wrong creed. Islamic creed can be interpreted as a principal point of belief which must be believed to be true by anyone who claims to be a Muslim. Talking about faith, first and foremost is the concept of divinity. Only then are the concept of another creed in accordance with the wish of Allah Himself through the words of the Quran and the hadith of His Prophet. When a person has Islamic beliefs, the initial foundation for building in his creed or belief is belief in Allah as God who must be worshipped. Can be understood? Okay. Number 2. The basic of Islamic faith. Islamic creed is something that is tawqifi in nature, meaning a teaching that can only be established by the evidence of Allah and the Prophet. Therefore, the source of Islamic creed are limited to the Quran and Sunnah, because no one knows more about Allah except Allah Himself. Then Rasulullah Shallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, bearer of revelation from Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Only then was opinion of the authoritative scholars stated by Rasulullah as his hair. Al-Quran. Al-Quran. Al-Quran is the word of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam through the angel Jibril. It is through the Al-Quran that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala pours out His word in favor of the concept of the correct creed, which must be believed and lived absolutely and cannot be negotiated by all Muslims. In the Quran, there are many verses that contain Tawhid, including Quran Surah Al-Ikhlas verse 1 to 4. And there are still many other verses that explain the faith if we want to study it. B. Hadith. Hadith is all the words, deeds, and takrir or silence of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Islam has emphasized that the Hadith is the second source of Islamic law after the Al-Quran, but the source of law in faith and in all matters of life. This is because everything relieved on the Prophet was revelation from God. Not just indulging in lust. One of the hadiths that explain the faith is followers. Qala ibnu Numairi sami'tu Rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam yaqulu man mata yushriku billahi syai'an dakhalan nara wa qultu ana wa man mata la yushriku billahi syai'an dakhala jannah, which means Ibnu Umar said, I hear Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, whoever dies while associating Allah with something, then he will go to hell. And I said, uh, me and those who died by not associating but partners with Allah with anything are undoubtedly entered heaven. Hadis riwayat Muslim. If we look at some of the hadiths above, then we will admit that none of their contents violate the Quran. In this case, relate to faith which is generally qualified. This further strengthens our belief that the hadiths are the source of all laws after the Quran that must be understood by Muslims both in terms of creed or otherwise. Both of them cannot be separated from one another. Did you understand up here? Do you anything to ask? If you have nothing to ask, I will end the meeting today. That's enough and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.